Welcome to the Wise Dragon podcast. I'm your host, Alan Salyer, aka the Wise Dragon. Together, we're going to make simple and effective lifestyle changes. That's what I want to do with this podcast. Self-care and wellness are going to be the backbone of everything. A lot of what we do, I feel, is determined by how much we want to take care of ourselves and the wellness that we've been taught, the wellness that we want, because there's so many different types, there's so many different things that some people just need that guidance. And you might be one of those people that just wants to hear about the self-care and wellness that's going to kind of get you motivated to move forward. So that's the idea behind the Wise Dragon podcast. I want to be able to give you guys the information as my opinion, but not a you have to do it. So here's what I think, here's what I see, here's what I feel, and maybe you'll feel and see and think some of the same ways. And that's what's important, is that we can all see something from a different perspective. So, for example, like myself, I believe that acceptance and perspective are two of the biggest keys to life. I think that if you're able to take a situation and look at it and then change that situation, I feel like a lot of this comes from the old school phrase, put yourself in someone else's shoes. You know, if you're able to take a situation and not just look at it as bad or good, but as open-minded, you know, not everything has to be bad. Even a bad situation can have good parts to it. And being able to even see those parts is going to help you feel those parts. And then acceptance. You know, things happen, especially in life, that we can't control. And it doesn't matter what personality type you are, doesn't matter how you feel, doesn't matter what your intentions were, you can't change that. And understanding the fact that these things have to happen it's going to make things so much easier, I feel like, to move on to that next step. Like, well, there wasn't anything I could do about that. First, you see it from a different perspective. That perspective tells you that it can be good, and then, well, I can't do nothing about the bad part, so let's focus on the good part. At the end of the day, you're at least doing something that you feel gets you to that next step. Having a growth mindset is very, very important when it comes to wanting to continue on this journey. Something that I really enjoy is just little lifestyle changes, little tweaks, little things that you just do that you don't realize. Not that you don't realize you're doing it, but it's more important than you give it credit for. So you change these little things, and then you continue to do them. That's how habits are built. I don't know if anyone's read the book Atomic Habits, but that's one of the things that James Clear talks about, is these small, subtle changes and continuing to do them over time. That's how a habit is built. Now, saying that out loud, I will kind of throw this out there too. The everything you do, like, is a habit. So the habit structure is basically being able to, again, see that from a different perspective. So every single day when you get up, you get your coffee. That's a habit. If you wanted to change that habit, you would get something different the next day. If you didn't want to change that habit, you would continue to get your coffee. The perspective is you want to change that habit. The acceptance is to change that habit, you have to actually do it. That's the part where a lot of us don't want to continue to stick with the same thing. We want to do it for a day or two, or we make these drastic changes that, honestly, I don't see the point in making such a big change so quick. I've done it, and it never works. Some of you guys listening to this may feel the exact same, that you make these changes that are so extravagant, and then you get nothing out of them because you quit in a month or a week. You got to do things subtly. You can't just change your entire life in a day. Speaking of that, we'll go back to the habits thing. So in a habit, for example, something that you do every day, if you were to take that entire thing out and replace it with something else, your body every single day is still trying to do that thing. It's still trying to want that thing. You can't just do that. I mean, yes, you can. There's a lot of things I've done in life that I quit, and I quit. I mean, Um, Alcohol was one of those things. I've never been to a meeting. I've never done any of that. But I woke up one morning after being sick for a couple of days. I was in the hospital. Woke up. I said, you know what? I quit. I did the same thing with Adderall. I came home one day from work, uh, got in I guess you would call it an argument. But honestly, I mean, that's all it was because I had an attitude all the time. So I got in like an argument with um, my my wife at the time then, and that night I was like, uh, this is dumb. I don't need this anymore. So I flushed them all down the toilet. I've never taken an Adderall since. Um, Smoking cigarettes. I it only took a couple times of me having to do something else and then come back to it, and then you're busy for 6 or 7 hours. You don't get a chance to um, smoke a cigarette, and then all of a sudden you pick one up and you just smell yourself. You smell a cigarette. And yes, that nicotine makes you want to continue to do it. I know it's the issue that a lot of people have. Actually, when I quit smoking cigarettes, I 100% ended up in the hospital. It changes so much more than you actually think in your body. Tobacco and nicotine really can control just so much that's going on in your gut. And that's terrible. And I said, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm tired of smelling this way, tired of feeling this way. And I did it. So, yes, you can do that. Some people are different, but not every situation or habit is the same. I mean, those are drastic habits that really impact someone's life. I'm talking about little habits. Like, say you want to start going to the gym. This time it's coming up. Um, Everyone's got their New Year's resolutions that they're going to start doing. I know the last couple of years, in January, things pop up like the 75 hard challenge. Right now, from what I've seen online, there's the winter arc challenge. And it's just all these things that people instantly are throwing into their life that, yes, they're good things, but it's so drastic of a change that once you get through it, you're not going to continue to do it. There's a story that I love out of Atomic Habits, actually, about a guy who wants to start going to the gym, but he honestly was not, I'm trying to think of the right word. He was not okay with himself enough to get out and be in the real world, to go and get on a treadmill. He was very overweight. So he didn't want to do it. So, but what he did say was that he was going to go. He was going to at least get there. So he drove to the gym every day. And for 2 weeks, he drove back home. He never walked in the front door. Now, to me, I'm not going to say an issue, because that's not an issue. He's definitely overcoming something that is ridiculously crazy, but it's for sure something that puts your mind in a different state. I mean, if you're at that point in life where you're not even able to get out of your car to walk into the gym to get on the treadmill, then you got some stuff going on. And that's something that just the dedication alone that he had to even drive there is amazing to me. So that being said, he did that for about 2 weeks. Starting his third week, he drove to the gym, and all of a sudden his mindset started to change. Instead of being scared, instead of not wanting to go in and do this, all of a sudden he was like, I'm here. I'm going to spend another 15 minutes driving home when I could be spending 15 minutes in there on the treadmill. So he went in. And when he went in, he got on the treadmill. And after a couple of minutes, he was like, I don't like this. So he left. Well, fast forward another 2 months, and now that he's continued to make himself do that, whether it's one time, or for 1 minute, I mean, or for 15 minutes, he continued to do it every single day. Fast forward 2 years later, he's a completely different person. Mindsets change, diets change, weight loss, just the energy levels that you have. There's something about, I wouldn't say being in the gym, because you can do it anywhere and with anything. There's other forms as far as, hiking, walking, friendships. I mean, just in general, the connection that someone has with the earth, the ground, the vibe, the connection they have with moving, the connection they have with just their muscles in general. When your muscles start to pump, and that could be going on a hike. You don't have to be powerlifting to make your muscles pump. That could be going on a hike with your best friend, and getting halfway through it, yeah, you're putting some time in, you're putting some work in, power walking through this field or power walking through this forest, So, and at that point, your muscles start to release all these different chemicals that you may not believe me or not, but they make you happy. They honestly make you want to do more. They make you want to keep going. They make you feel good. I love hearing stories about when I talk to people and they're like, I wasn't feeling it today. It wasn't my jam, but I made myself get to the gym, and about halfway through my workout, all of a sudden, like, I didn't want to stop. This is what I wanted now. It's because your muscles are starting to pump, to release all those chemicals, and you're starting to feel it. And that's such a good feeling, such a good thing. That's what we need to get to. We need to get to the point where it's not about just stopping. It's not about just not wanting to do something. It's about actually doing it, whether it's for 1 minute, 15 minutes, it doesn't matter. Now, all that being said, like I was talking about before, you can't just add all this stuff to your habit every single day, or to add all these habits to yourself every single day, because you have so many other things going on. Say you were getting up in the morning, you want to start going to the gym. You'll notice this if you actually start doing this. People in your life are going to start asking you, where do you go every morning? What are you doing? Because they're not used to it. Well, because they're not used to it, it makes you not used to it. And because you're not used to it, it turns into one of these things where, like, you're going to start thinking, well, what could I have been doing? What was I doing? And even though some of those things might not be the best things, I was sleeping in. Again, it's perspective and acceptance. Perspective would be looking at that situation and saying, I do need to do this. Like, this is good for me. This is how I feel. Doing the other thing is not good. Being able to see both sides of it. And then accepting, like, yeah, this might suck right now. Or, yeah, these people may not understand what I'm doing. But you're doing something. And over time, they're not going to ask. They're going to know. And that's when that habit becomes a form of who you are. Because that's essentially all life. I mean, every day people do the same things over and over, not even realizing that it is habits, but that's what they are. Those are habits. And to change those, we have to take little steps over time. What's the quote say? You start moving mountains by carrying small rocks. You can't move the whole mountain. No one can. I don't care who you are. Can't move the whole mountain. So now I want to just kind of give you my input on how your brain and gut send signals all over the body. We kind of got into that a second ago with the your muscles releasing those different chemicals that put you in a good state of mind. That's awesome. But it's a real thing. I mean, your brain and gut literally tell you everything. And what we're learning over these last couple of years, I feel like, is that your gut is much more powerful than you give it credit for. Just from stressing out a little bit, your gut can completely change. Just from eating a couple meals that are harder for your body to digest, you're going to sweat different when you're walking around outside. And you may not notice these things either, but they're happening. And now that I've said it out loud, you might notice them. So I feel like as far as longevity and biohacking and all this stuff, like, that's the big picture. That's what we want, to take care of your brain and your gut as long as you can. That's why a lot of people say, they want to learn something every day. They want to get to that next step every day. That's because they're trying to be a better person. And being a better person doesn't mean you're better than anyone else. Doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. It just means you're being better than who you were the day before. That's all it is. And then your gut in general. I mean, why would you want to get up every day and not feel good or cough all the time? Like, it makes zero sense to me. That's something that if you don't want to do it, then why are you doing it? Like, I don't get that. So, and a lot of these topics too, I'm going to go in. This is just the first podcast. It's kind of an intro to how I am, how my opinions are, how I work, to see if it's something that you do like. I'm going to go into all these topics a lot more with some more in-depth information, more examples from my life, examples from friends' life. I plan on in the future having friends on the podcast to talk about things they have going on, whether it be their own, like, small businesses, their own holistic health, their own productivity and habits and things that they've done, things they've seen to create a more self-aware, self-care version of your life in the aspect of overall wellness. So this is really cool. I know I'm just kind of throwing this in here out of nowhere, but I wanted to throw this in here because now that you're about halfway through probably of what this is, for 15 minutes on my podcast, I think I want to do probably around 30, 40 minutes. So I'm going to throw this in here in the middle. What is the meaning of dragons in spirit? So that being said, the dragon symbol, fire and passion. We all know that. We see it. Every single show that we watch about dragons, it's all fire. It's all just the hardcore passion that a dragon has. We get that. Having that fire and passion, it encourages you to find your own passion in life. So if you're seeing dragons, I know this sounds weird, but it's not. If you're seeing dragons when you meditate, if you're in your mind, if you're doing something and you see and feel the dragon spirit, it's because you're looking for passion in your life. You're looking to take risks. You're looking to develop your own strength and power, not anyone else. Your own strength and power. When dragons show up in your dreams, physical symbols, if you feel like you're just seeing them in the clouds, and I know it's kind of a big spiritual awakening, but that's what the dragon spirit means. It's a huge spiritual awakening and a transformation, and that's what that means. So that's kind of where, in my mind, I've been seeing and had dragons in my life for many years. About a year ago, I started meditating, and when I started meditating, when I started closing my eyes, when I started getting to that point, that was one of the things that kept popping up. It was never random people. It was never different things that I had going on. It was always me and dragons. So I went with the dragons for the concept of what I'm doing to, help other people, my podcast, my website, my social media. That's where the wise dragon comes from. There's a bunch of different other things too. Wise dragon means, or Satoshi Ryu translates to wise dragon, and that's always been like a really cool name. I use it in like my video games and stuff. At least to me, when I was a little kid, I learned that someone in the Pokemon industry, I think it was one of the writers or somebody, their name was Satoshi. So I looked it up. Satoshi means wise. So I was like, oh, cool, wise. And then Ryu is dragon. So, Satoshi Ryu, wise dragon, aka I am the wise dragon. I'm hoping that possibly I can be a little bit of that encouragement for you to find your own passion, to develop your own strength and power. I'm hoping that I can help lead you into this big spiritual awakening and transformation that you're looking to. So that's the idea behind the meaning of wise dragon, and what the dragon spirit means, which I think is so cool. I mean, strength and power. Who doesn't want strength and power? Now, speaking of strength and power, you definitely have to be humble. You can't just be a jerk to everybody. That's not how the world works. And some people, just because you have that strength and power, are going to act like you are that person. You're not, and you're not. That's where the humility comes in. That's where you have to settle, take a step back and be like, this isn't me. I'm not that person. You can't say it out loud to them. You just got to prove it. Proving it means be quiet, take care of yourself. That's what's important. So we talked a little bit about habits and things like that. Now I want to talk about motivation. One of my favorite subreddits that I get on is the self-improvement subreddit. I love getting on there and reading because I see all these questions from people that just completely blow my mind. And what I mean by that is it's so not dark, because it's not dark. These people actually want help. They want to get better. But it's just like, I'm getting on the internet, which is already cool to me because we didn't have this when I was a kid. I'm getting on the internet and I'm asking these people who I don't know, who I've never seen before in my entire life, but we're both into something. And that something is improving oneself. And I'm not doing good at it. So I want to ask these people. I see questions in here like, how do I get more motivation? Why am I depressed? What supplements should I take for depression? Well, let's dive into each of these. How do you get more motivated? I'll be honest with you, you don't. Motivation does not come to you. You create it. That's something that it took me a minute to learn, but it's so much of a real thing. And I've noticed it in my own bouts of depression, where I'll spend 3 or 4 days just kind of moping around and not doing much. And then I keep telling myself the whole time, like, I'll do it when I get motivated. You're not going to get motivated. And then all of a sudden, a couple days later, something will spark, and I'll start prepping some food or cutting up some fruit, and I'll get done, and I'm like, oh wow, I feel accomplished. Now I want to do more. Well, that's how it starts. That's how you continue to get motivated. So if you want to get more motivated, it starts by just doing it. And it doesn't have to be big, like we talked about at the beginning of this episode. It doesn't have to be anything big. Just do the smallest part. If you don't want to, say, go to the gym for that day, stretch. Turn on one of your favorite shows, sit on your floor, start stretching. Do some stretches. I guarantee halfway through it, you're going to be like, what other stretches can I do? Oh, this feels good. Oh, I'm breathing better. Oh, I'm not as tense. Like, it's going to help you. One of the big ones that I see in there all the time is, why am I depressed? Nobody knows why you are depressed. However, we can help you not be depressed. That being said, a lot of times I feel like depression comes with the lifestyle and how we were all raised, especially nowadays, because a lot of people, mental health is huge. It's a huge just thing that wasn't a thing when I was younger. And I think because now it is a thing, a lot of people think that they might be depressed when honestly it could just be a bad day. And they ask, why am I depressed? Nobody knows why you are depressed. You have to figure that out. But we can help you. We can help you by giving you ideas of ways to get yourself out of that slump, get yourself into this newfound set of motivation. That newfound set of motivation being, look in your mirror. That's a big one for me. Look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. You know how hard it is to be actually honest with yourself? Do you have any times in life when you bring up being honest with yourself, or you call out the quote unquote elephant in the room, when it comes to yourself, how many people will stop and look at you like, did he really just say that? Yeah, because you guys are all thinking it. So why am I hiding? Now, if you're able to do that, then congratulations, because that is a very, very hard thing to do. I still have issues doing it sometimes. I can do it around certain people, but I can't do it around everyone. And there's days I can't do it to myself. There's days I'll be right in the middle of accomplishing a task that I thought was something that it wasn't. And halfway through it, I'm like, why am I doing this? That is a huge role in depression. There's a lot to that. And then the last one that I brought up is, it's not necessarily funny to me. It's kind of like I guess I take it as kind of a joke, but it's really not good. And that's kind of one of the best ways to explain it. It's not a good way of thinking. What supplements should I take for depression? Now, when I hear that, or when I read that, what I think is, you're looking for an outlet to fix your depression without fixing your depression. Now, I don't see anything wrong with that. I do believe that there are people in this world that definitely need medication. You may be one of them. I know there's things I take that, for myself, that doctors have prescribed me, that I've talked to. But we're also getting to this point in life where now that's all we want. We get a sniffle, we want an antibiotic. We get a sore muscle, and we call off work for 2 days. We get an attitude with somebody, and the world's ending. You can't do all that. Supplements, medicine, antibiotic, none of that stuff is going to put you in a position where you need it. I definitely think there are things out there that help with depression. I've been hearing a lot of stuff on different podcasts and things about different like supplements and teas and things like that definitely help, which I do believe in. But your biggest thing when it comes to what should I do, what should I take for depression, what you should take is a chill pill. Just chill out, take a deep breath, focus on things like your sleep, your diet, your energy levels, stretch, do even little stuff. I heard a couple weeks ago, someone mentioned doing push-ups, and it's funny to me because I did this thing last year, I didn't even finish it, which I guess I should probably jump back in and do that, especially for all you guys. Start uploading it to my website and stuff. But I did this thing where I was doing 100 push-ups a day, and I did it for 76 days. Now, that's 700. Oh, wow. That's 7,600 push-ups. It's a lot of push-ups. But I did it for 76 days. That's 360 days a year. So that being said, say I would have changed that up a little bit and did maybe 2 sets of 20 or 3 sets of 10, something a little bit easier. Doesn't take as long, but something a little bit easier. At this point, now I'm doing 30 a day for 365 days, more consistent, more, I don't know what the actual number is. I guess I could probably punch in a calculator real quick, but I'm guaranteeing it's probably more than the 76. And they were also split up. So there was like days where I couldn't do 2 or 3 of them, like because I was sore or something like that. You know, it's just, those are things that, again, trying to do them. And I think I got off topic a little bit. So, again, trying to do them, help out with supplements that you don't need. Like the best supplement you need is your diet, your sleep, honestly, when it comes to anything. And then after that, we're good. Oh, I was talking about things you take to be happy. So, I mean, I see that you can do things to make yourself happy, and there are different, I mean, I'm a firm believer in teas. I love my kava. Ashwagandha is getting really big. Just things that you can definitely do to help yourself out when it comes to being depressed and helping out your body get to that next step. But you don't need it. What you need is to focus on you. So I'm getting towards the end of how I'm feeling. So I'm going to wrap things up. But I do want to say that when you are feeling this way, I know I already talked about like the whole push-up thing, but just taking a couple steps. Sunshine is one of the biggest ones, honestly. Go out and stand in the sun, or not even stand in the sun. Open up a window, with your blinds so you can let the sunlight in. Those are all things that just completely will change your perspective. You won't realize it till you try it. So I'm gonna start wrapping this up. We're about to hit 30 minutes. The goal for some of these podcasts is that you turn them on maybe on your way to work or in the mornings while you're doing something, or in the evenings or whatever time is good for you while you're doing something else, and just kind of listen in the background. So that's my goal. I'm going to go now and just kind of explain my social media content and let you know kind of how to get to it, what I got going on. So we got Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Twitter. Those are all going to be updates with the website, updates with the podcast, updates with my blog and my writing. I definitely recommend going and following all those. The username for all of those is the same. It's Wise, W-I-S-E, Zen, Z-E-N, Dragon. So Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, all the same username, all the way down to even my YouTube and TikTok. So you're going to see different reels when I come out with certain products, or when this starts to be a video podcast, different clips and things from my podcast. Those are going to be on TikTok. The video podcast will be on YouTube. Anything that's going on with my website as far as signing up, coaching programs or regular programs, coaching sessions, things like that, I'm going to put information and videos showing you how to do that and what's going on my YouTube. So it's definitely something to be, looking out for. Get on there, subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications and stuff. That way you can get them. Writing. So this is another big thing for me. So I do have my blog. My blog's on my website. It's Wisezen Dragon, the W-I-S-E-Z-E-N Dragon.com. And I'm posting my blogs on there. You do have to sign up to become a member. It's free, but that lets me see, kind of start creating a email list to where I can let you guys know what's going on with some bigger aspects of my life. I'm currently writing a few books right now, off and on. When those start to get released or snippets from the books, I'm going to be sending out a newsletter, new podcast, live events. I got a couple live events planned on Facebook where I'd love for people to come in and talk to me, let me know what they have going on so that they can hear my opinion and we can go from there. Not a debate, an opinion. So I'm definitely looking forward to something like that. And I want to be running different specials, percentages off and discounts when it comes to some of my subscriptions. So that being said, on those live events is where I'm going to host those. I'm going to host a live event so that I can tell you guys about the discount and stuff. So that's going to be a big thing too. I do recommend going and subscribing to everything so that you can, hear about it. Last thing is all of my blog posts I put on Medium. Most of the time on Medium, they're there first. So if it is something that you do like my blog and you are a writer yourself, or you are into different publications yourself, find me on Medium. I'll link all these things in the bottom of the notes, all my different links to social media, my Medium account, things like that. So get on, check those out. I hope you guys have, the rest of your day is smooth. I had to work here a little bit, so I'm going to get this edited and probably uploaded tomorrow morning. Just in general, I hope everyone has a really good day. It's a day to, well, every day is a day to be a better person, to change. And again, it's not about being better than anyone else. It's just about being better than who you were yesterday. It sounds silly, but that's what I think. That's the Wise Dragon's opinion. So hope you all have a great day. Don't forget, subscribe, all my posts, follow me, shoot me an email, leave me a comment, let me know how you like this. And I look forward to seeing you guys again. All right, bye.